Hey everyone, welcome to a Mondays with Melissa. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Normally I would do a answering a listener's question, but I decided to give you a couple of tips on summer survival because I am getting a lot of questions about that in general. And so I just have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for you guys to think about this summer as we go into summer. We've been on summer break here in our area, in Eastern Washington for a few weeks already. And so I just wanted to give you some things to think about. So the first thing is, I'm just going to jump right in. The first thing is, if you need day camp or to send your kids to VBS for 1 week or even daycare, that's okay. And there's zero judgment. Listen, if we are actually finding ourselves more in a state of survival and our own nervous systems are dysregulated and we are finding ourselves with very little patience and having a hard time um, with our own big feelings, it's okay to realize that maybe we need a break from our kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you're not going to get any judgment from me. So, if this is the permission you need to utilize a day camp or utilize VPS or even put your kids in part-time daycare, you get that from me because we have to be the best we can be for our kids. And sometimes that means that we need a little bit of a break, especially if we are doing our own healing and working through our own stuff and working hard to heal our own trauma. Sometimes it can feel a lot and overwhelming. So that is my first tip is just be aware of what your needs are and how you can be the best you can be for your kids. And if that means day camp, VBS, daycare, that's okay. All right, my second tip is schedule outings so that they are predictable for your kids. So, scheduling them in a predictable way. So, some examples might be like maybe every Tuesday, we're going to go to the library. And then every Wednesday, we're going to go to the park. And every Thursday, we're going to go to the pool. And every Friday, we're going to go to, I don't know, what else is there that we could go to? Um, Maybe every Friday we're going to go on a hike, right? And then we have Saturday, Sunday, Monday to just not go on outings or have those free to do more flexible things. But scheduling outings in a predictable way allows our kids to have not only predictability that their bodies really need, they need to be able to feel that they know what's coming next so that they don't have to have anxiety about what are we doing today, right? So that's important. But then also it gives them something to look forward to. So if I know every Tuesday I'm going to the library, and I love going and picking out new books or maybe playing with the Legos that they have there, um, then that's something that I look forward to. So keep that in mind. There are some like free things to do in the summer, like some of the local pools here have free swim days. Um, there's a free bowling if you go. I'll link in the show notes. I will link if you live in the Spokane area. Um, and this may be the case in other places as well, but there is a free bowling program where you can get 2 hours of free bowling every week for kids. And then the adults do have to pay. But so that could be something you sign up for. And then we go bowling once a week, right? So, and then there's like in our area, there's the Discovery Pass where you pay, I think it's only like $35, but then you can park at any of the state park hiking areas, right? So you can discover different hiking trails around. And again, I think well, I know that that's a Washington state thing. So if you live in Washington, that goes for the whole state. But I'm sure in your area, there's something similar. So just exploring maybe farmers markets. There's so many farmers markets that you could explore. There's night markets in our area, there's day markets, there's Saturday markets. And so that can be a fun way to just do something new and exciting with your kids. So, looking in your area to see what are some things that are free or inexpensive that you can just build into your weekly schedule. Okay, my third tip is that when you do have at home days, to keep it structured with clear expectations of what is going to happen next at each point of the day. My preference is that you provide a visual schedule for your kids because visual is always best. If we can actually see what we're doing, that is best than just hearing what we're doing. Because oftentimes we might hear it and then forget it pretty quickly, especially some of our kids that have experienced some adversity or even some exposure to drugs and alcohol. We want to be mindful of that, that a visual schedule can be helpful. So keeping your day structured, clear expectations of first we do this, then we do this at every point of the day, making sure that you're building in snacks and food every 2 hours. So that should be part of how your day looks. Um, Building in sensory play. So, touching, feeling, spinning, jumping, running, swinging, any of those things that can just give our kiddos the sensory play that they might need. And then moving our bodies. And this goes for us too. So maybe we build in a walk every day, or maybe we build in playing tag every day or not every day, but every time that you're at home, right? We're going to build in these playful moments where we are all moving our bodies, whether it is a walk or something that's more active, like playing tag, hide and seek, things like that. The key is though that we are making this structured with a visual schedule so we can see what's coming next. Okay, my fourth tip is screen time. It can become an easy go-to in the summer, especially on days that are a little bit cooler and we might not want to go outside, might not want to go swim, or if you're not feeling well or you have a sick kiddo, right? That can also change the dynamics. If I'm not feeling good, I probably am not going to want to be playing hide and seek or, going on a family walk or things like that. So there are times where TV can be helpful, but we have to be really careful that it doesn't become the go-to, that our kids aren't sitting and watching TV all day long, because that can then lead to some difficult behaviors, and that can lead to, it's that dopamine hit that then when we have to get off of the screen, it can cause almost like a withdrawal where our kiddos are like, "No, I can't," and they lose their minds, right? And then we just find ourselves in this place that's like a downward spiral. So if we can set a set amount of screen time, that's the first thing, but then also build it into our daily routine. Build it into this is the time we have screen time. Then it becomes predictable. And also, when your kiddo is asking you for screen time when it's not a time for screen time, you don't have to say no. You can say, "Oh, actually, we're doing this right now, and screen time is at after lunch or whenever it is." And we can refer them back to that visual schedule. Um, so that can be helpful too. Then they're not hearing no, no, no about screens. They're hearing we get to do screens. It's just not right now. Be flexible with this though. Like I already mentioned, there might be times where we do need to have more screens than normal if we're not feeling well or it's just a different kind of day. Also, maybe you want to have like a movie night or a movie in the middle of the day. Like that can be fun, right? Movie in the middle of the day. We build a fort. We have lunch. We're sitting in a fort watching a movie while we eat a picnic lunch on the living room floor. And that may not be when the screen time is, but it could just be a fun activity to do. And so be flexible with it. Don't be too rigid. Okay. Then my fifth tip is hydration and sunscreen. Um, for the win, hydration and sunscreen. The last thing we want, if our kiddos already struggle with not feeling good in their bodies and feeling kind of wiggly and having some sensory needs, the last thing we want is for them to have a sunburn or peeling skin because that is going to not like amplify how they don't feel good in their bodies. It hurts. It's painful. We can't touch it. Anything that touches it hurts. The peeling skin can feel really bad for our kiddos with sensory needs. And so sunscreen, even if you know, are like, well, sometimes I hear people say, well, they've got a pretty good base tan, right? Okay, fine. But also let's not risk it. So we're going to apply sunscreen and make sure that you're applying it. If you're like at the lake all day, apply it every, hour or two just to make sure that their skin doesn't get burned because that's the last thing we want. Also with that hydration. So, we typically don't know that we're dehydrated until we feel super thirsty. And our kids don't always make that connection of what thirst feels like. Um, and so we want to make sure that we are keeping ourselves hydrated, but our kids as well whether it's using a special water bottle that like marks the time of when they take, how much water they're supposed to drink throughout the day, or we're just really on top of it. Whatever that is, we just want to make sure that we're staying hydrated because our brains and our bodies need to be hydrated to work their best. And so that's just one thing that we want to avoid meltdowns that might be caused by dehydration. And that can just be an easy way to make sure that we're feeling good in our bodies. Okay, so those are 5 tips that I have for summer survival. They're pretty easy to do, they're not too crazy. If you have any ideas, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram or an email, and I'd be happy to share it with our listeners or even on social media because I just think that's what this is, right? We help each other, we support each other. So that's it for today. Next week, I have my friend Becky on, and she is a stretch therapist. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear her talk about why it's important to stretch and how we can stretch. She gives us some ideas, some ways to stretch on our own at home, but she also talks about what she does in her practice, Spokane Stretch. And I think by the end of that episode, you're going to want to reach out to her and have a stretching session because she just makes it sound so amazing. So that's next week. And then for the rest of the summer, I actually am just going to be playing replays of my top 8 listened to podcasts, just so that I can get a little break and be able to spend more time with my family. So next week will be Becky, and then the rest of the summer is going to be the top most listened to episodes this year. And then we'll start up again in the fall with some new episodes. So I am excited for you guys for next week. Come back and listen to me and Becky talk about stretching because it's so important. All right, you guys, have a great week. Bye.